Almost a year has passed since I visited at your headmaster's invitation in order to lecture the souls of myself and my enemies by singing some of my songs. The last 300 or so days have introduced us to the terror of war, ups and downs, misfortunes, and due to this, all of you sitting in this room should be terrified of what is to come. This period of relaxation will not last. The last time I visited this town, we were in a desperate solitude, one which lasted for 5 or 6 months. We had no weapons. Today we have a meager stock of arms, but then we had none. The enemy beat down on us and cut our forces apart with their air force, something this town can attest to. And I understand. Cut that part out. And I can understand your impatience with the lack of information coming your way. We should, in theory, be able to cope with both acute crises and longer bad periods. However, it is common knowledge that the British cannot do either. They do not have terrific foresight. They often have issues preparing themselves for war. Sometimes, they try to put their collective efforts into something they believe must be accomplished. Eventually, however, although their efforts seem to last an eternity, they tend to meet crushing failure. An additional thing to focus on, thinking back to our previous meeting nearly a year ago, is that things are almost always what they appear to be. As Kipling said, we have to accept observations as fact and reject courage in the face of apparent failure. Appearances determine exactly how things will go. Imagination is a highly practical tool in assessing our failures, yet imagination generally does not hold any real value outside of that. Imaginative people are very good at predicting future events. Accurately in most cases. They must also pray that the people around them are wise enough to listen. But for everyone apparently, for what we have not gone through in 300 days' time, this is the lesson. Give in, give in, give in. Whether it be great or small, large or petty, give in to everything but convictions of honor and good sense. Yield to force, yield to the apparent overwhelming might of the enemy. A year ago, we stood together, and to all countries it seemed our account was open. We were just beginning. Our history, traditions and songs is history that is not a part of our country, so we were just getting started. The mood remains the same today. Britain, other nations said, had stood in the gap. They were right. We cannot erase our past. There was hesitation and thoughts of surrender, and by what seemed almost normalcy to those inside these islands, though we ourselves doubted it, we now find ourselves in a position where I say that we can be sure that we have no hope of conquering. You sang a verse of a school song. You sang that extra verse written in my honor, which I was little complimented by and which you have annoyingly repeated today. But there is one word in it I want to alter. I wanted to do so last year, but I did not venture to. It is the line, "Less we praise in darker days." I have not obtained the headmaster's permission to alter darker to sterner. Less we praise in sterner days. Let us speak of lighter days. Let us speak of darker days. These are not light days. These are horrible days. The worst days our country ever lived. And we must all thank God that we have not been allowed, each of us according to our stations, to play a part in making these days memorable in the history of our race.